Well, I think the biggest threats that we're facing at the European level, and which would apply to most countries, I think, are the facilitated illegal immigration. I think in terms of just the scale of the problem. I think terrorism, in terms of the political priority and the impact that terrorism has. And the last one would be cybercrime, which is just a borderless, truly global crime phenomena, which is relatively recent. And I think the real challenge with that is that we're trying to play catch-up. I think coming to grips with each of them, which require different solutions. In terms of the migration crisis, it's not about just securing borders. It's actually about, as Europol has said for many years, it's attacking the organised crime groups that feed off this unfortunate traffic, whether it's in moving people through the desert to the coastline or from Syria through Turkey. It's about the ones who are running the camps where they're held. It's the ones who put them on the boats. It's the ones who facilitate their onward moving once they arrive in Europe. So it's all of those elements, and 90% of the people who arrive illegally in Europe pay for the privilege. So they pay in organised crime. So we need to attack the business model of organised crime. In terms of terrorism, it's about understanding the problem. It's about understanding the networks. It's about cooperating. It's about exchanging information. Of course, Europol sits in the centre of that mechanism. It's about being able to respond to a threat which has become much more local in nature. It's not something that comes from far away. The attacks in Paris and in Brussels and more recently in London show that your perpetrator comes from not very far away from where the attack takes place. And then in cyber, it's a whole new world. It's a brave new world. The connections, the connectivity, the location of the victims is nowhere near the location of the perpetrator. The method that they get in touch is so various. The scams are scams that have been used for centuries, but of course now it's appearing on your phone or on your laptop or on your iPad or whatever other device which is available that you might use. But seriously, it's all of those things. And people are lulled into a false sense of security because they feel comfortable. The reality is that they're very exposed, and we need to firstly raise awareness of the problems that they face, and Europol has a big role in that, but also actually putting the specialist units together who deal with this type of criminality, putting them together so that they can work collectively. And that works at the EU level, it works at the Commonwealth level, it works within various organisations that I mentioned today. We need, in Europol, in the United Kingdom, in the Commonwealth, to promote best practice, as the Secretary General said. We need to promote best practice. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, but we need to work together and learn together, and then we can better act together. We find that we have tremendous interest from parliamentarians. I think we get good support. As I explained yesterday, the European Parliament is our budgetary authority, so we're obviously very keen to have good relations with the ones who are going to give us the money and the resources. But I think more widely than that, we have good relations with national parliaments. We've worked hard to build that level of trust and confidence that national parliaments have in the work that Europol does. And I think that's important going forward because the privacy versus security debate is a really important debate. If privacy is the overarching principle, security suffers. If it's all security, then privacy is put to one side. We need to find that balance. And that's not our responsibility. It's the responsibility of the elected members of Parliament. They need to be the ones to make the decisions on which way the pendulum's swinging. I had questions today from Malawi, I had questions from Australia, I had questions from Jamaica, I had questions from Jersey. None of them are members of Europol. Yet the message that we have is consistent for all of them, and I think the support that we provide is global in nature. That's the nature of crime. So, I think Europol stands ready to support the member states, and if something comes from, a member of the Commonwealth, then I'm sure that we'd be in a position to at least look at it, and we'll find a way. Our job is to cooperate. Our job is not to avoid cooperation. Our job is to find ways to cooperate, and we're very adept at doing that.